hook. What is that? Is that a bass? Is that a crappie? That's a bass. Well, it's not a very big bass, but it's a bass. Yeah. Oh, hi. Hey, how are you doing? That is what we're after out here today. Congratulations. You have just received the finest spinnerbaits that have ever been built. You know, really and truly, it's very difficult to improve on a spinnerbait. You know, a spinnerbait is a spinnerbait, but we have taken and done everything that I think that you can possibly do to make a spinnerbait better. Starting with the really revolutionary deal, titanium wire, unbreakable titanium wire, always snaps right back perfectly in tune. The quick skirt. The quick skirt system is incredible. How many times have you ever taken a spinnerbait, tried to remove the skirt and change colors? You take the skirt off and the skirt is ruined. You'll never do that with a Terminator. The quick skirt allows you to change skirts instantly. Your skirt just as good as brand new. How about the hook? Take a look at the hooks on those Terminators. Round bend, needle point hooks. That means they're round all the way around. They won't cut, slice, tear open a big place in the fish's mouth where when that fish jumps, he's going to get off. And the blades, let me tell you, absolutely the finest quality. Our gold blades are 24 karat gold plated. Nickel blades, finest nickel blades you can get. And the finishes on the Terminator, well, I don't even need to tell you. All you got to do is just look at the ones you got in your own kit. Come and go fishing with me today, and I tell you what, I'll share with you some of the things that I believe helps you catch fish on a spinnerbait. I believe we might catch one bigger than that too, don't you? Come on, Booger. Whoa, here we go. Here we go, baby. Yes, sir. Come here, lover. Come here, little guy. Come here, little guy. I'll tell you what, that fish got a little attitude. Grab my attitude spinnerbait there. Yeah, lover. Come here. You want to get rid of it? He says, help me out a little, Jimmy. Help me out a little, buddy. I believe I'll do that. Come on in here. Come on in here. Come on in here. Oh, I'm not sure you're supposed to lift those fish in. You see this situation right here? That happens right there just about all the time in spinnerbait fishing, especially you try to lift a 2 or 3 pound fish in. That fish there weighs about 2.5 pounds. See how that bait gets up here? But look at here what's going to happen. Look at that bait. It goes right back to the exact right tuned position, right where I want it. Now the bait was all up here, the wires wrapped around, but look at here. Once I let that bait down, go ahead and hook my little lever here. The bait is right back perfectly in the position to fish. I don't have to fool that bait, I don't have to bend it back, don't have to worry about weakening the wire. All I got to do with that bait is just throw it out there, catch another lever. I'm gonna be real careful with these. This is a mama bass. See her belly right there? You're gonna make a whole bunch more little bass that I can come out here and catch. See her way by? That's the way she waves by. She can't talk, you know. All right. I like that. No tuning the spinnerbait, Jimmy, but you do have to unwrap it off the end of your rod. Look at there. Spinnerbait still running exactly perfectly. Come here, baby. We're about to get on the bank right here now, I'm telling you. I got trees everywhere. My trolling motor is about to get stuck on the bottom. I'm just in a mess is what I am, is in a mess. Come here, Booger. Come up here, lover, in this boat with me. Oh, me, I want to sit down here and rest a minute if it's all right with y'all. I tell you what, that is a pretty bass right there. That is a beautiful fish, it really is. How in the world do you determine, I love you, sugar. How in the world do you determine what size blades and what shape blades to fish with when you're spinnerbaiting? Well, really, blades are designed to do a purpose. And just remember this, the willow leaf blades, ones that's shaped like a willow leaf, and of course on the Terminator, we've got these little cups back here, kind of like a fish's tail. These are designed to create flash. You see this blade flashing, you see that? This is designed to create flash. That's exactly what it's for, flash. Round blades, Colorado blades, Tennessee blades, Indiana blades, these blades right here are designed to create vibration. So if you want a lot of flash, willow leaf, you want a lot of vibration, you go with the round blades. Now, one way to kind of compensate and try to get a lot of flash and a lot of vibration is to have real thin frames or real thin wires on your bait. And one of the big problems, of course, has always been the thinner the wire we go, the quicker the bait breaks. It just doesn't last very long. Now with titanium, of course, you don't have to worry about it breaking, and you see how flexible and how that is? This creates a lot of vibration. Another thing as far as your blades goes is if you want a lot of vibration out of a willow leaf blade, simply move to a larger blade. This is a big blade right here, and it's really thumping. You can watch my rod tip. You see how that rod tip is bent? That rod tip is really bent over. You can see it just thump, 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 thump. That's what you want. It really creates a lot. And it seems like that you have water that's real, real clear or water that's real, real muddy. That's when you really need a lot of vibration. Most of your water that we would term to stained, probably flash is more important than vibration. You know, even in clear water, why we want a lot of vibration is that a lot of vibration can pull fish from a long way. If they can feel that vibration a long way off, and then because the water's clear, they can see the bait. I've seen bass go 8, 10, 12, 15 feet to get a spinnerbait. When that happens, you're definitely going to have a good day. Match your blades to what you're trying to accomplish with your bait. Match your blades to what you're trying to accomplish. Single spin or tandem, most people prefer tandem. Tandem will give you more flash. A single blade is going to give you more vibration. Your blade is designed to do whatever you're trying to accomplish. Hey, let's catch another fish. Come here, little guy. Come here, little guy. Come here, little guy. Come here. Come in here. I just caught that one just to prove that you don't always catch great big giant fish on spinnerbaits. I'm gonna tell you what, will you look at the way that fish is hooked though? I tell you, that fish right there is only about 14 inches long, but I can think of many tournaments where that'd be worth several $1,000s. That's one of the key things about, of course, a big Terminator spinnerbait is it's got a giant hook on it. Look at that hook, tremendously good hook. Bye, baby. How deep should you fish a spinnerbait? You know, fishing a spinnerbait, you can fish a lot of different ways. Right on top of the water, which is where I like to fish a lot. You can drag it 15, 20, 30 foot deep. How do you determine how deep to fish a spinnerbait? Well, in reality, you can't fish at the wrong depth because it will catch fish top to bottom. I mean, it'll catch them all the way, top to bottom. A good rule of thumb, however, is to fish a spinnerbait just before it goes out of sight. Now, if the water's pretty murky, I may be fishing the bait 2 or 3 inches under the surface. If the water's pretty clear, a lake like, say, Table Rock, it's a very, very clear lake, I may be fishing down 4 and 5 foot deep, but just before the bait goes out of sight. In other words, you fish that bait, you drop it down. If that bait, say, goes out of sight at, say, 18 inches, I might fish the bait 16 inches deep where I can just barely see the bait. That seems to be a very good rule of thumb. The reason behind that is that the fish will lay down there just out of sight also. And they'll be right under, so you sort of have a sight break line is really what you're evolving into. Now, I like to do that. I probably catch about 70% of the fish I catch on spinnerbait with that bait in sight. When do I slow roll it? There's one magic time of the year that you want to slow roll a spinnerbait, and that's when you have male bass that are spawning. They get up on the bank. Female bass, before they move into the nest, they will always be in 4 to 7 foot of water. And when they get in that 4 to 7 foot of water, generally that's when you want to slow roll a spinnerbait. When I'm talking slow rolling a spinnerbait, I mean throwing that spinnerbait out there, dropping it down, and just turning just where you're feeling that blade vibrate. See that rod tip? You know that blade is vibrating. Slow rolling that bait 4, 5, 6, 7 foot down. That's one of the time of the years when you want to put trailers on there. We'll talk about trailers in just a second. Notice in your Terminator kit that you've got some trailers. Now when people are talking about adding trailers to spinnerbaits, you're talking about one of two things: adding some sort of a plastic or pork trailer to the end of it, or adding a hook. Now when I'm talking about adding trailers, I'm talking about adding some sort of enhancement. I fish a trailer hook, well really in tournaments I fish it 100% of the time. But let's talk just a little bit about adding trailers, and don't let me forget we'll talk about adding a trailer hook also. But when we're adding a trailer to a spinnerbait, of course we've taken, let's just stick one of these quick skirts on real quick here. One of the things that we're talking about is increasing the size of the bait. Now this is a relatively large size bait I've got right here. It's a 1/2 ounce or 3/4 ounce. We're talking about adding to size of the bait. So if we're going to add a trailer back here, you can see we're going to make that bait larger. Now this particular type trailer right here, there's a couple ways you can add that. One is to simply come right up through the point and stick it on like such. In other words, just let it trail back behind. Now in doing that, you've made this bait extremely long. You see the length of this bait? It must be about 7 or 8 inches there. That makes that bait really pretty doggone long. The other way, and this is really what I prefer in adding a trailer, here's what I'll do on it. I will usually take this and come in here and come around like such and actually worm the trailer on. Now I want it to come just about here on the bend. I don't want it to come up here on the bend. I want it to come down here to the bottom side of the bend. And now personally, I like the rounded side down. Some people like the flat side, but because this is going to be going through the water, I just feel like it works better, has a lot better action. These two little tails are going to be wiggling down here with the flat side down. Now, obviously, if you want to make your bait a little bit smaller, all you do is just bite off a little bit of this. In fact, sometimes when you catch a fish or two, they'll tear a little bit of your trailer up, just bite it off, and you can still have the trailer on back behind it. Now, a couple other trailers you want to think about, you might want to think about using. One would be a pork trailer, like a pork chunk, a pork frog, something like this. Here's a couple other trailers. You can actually add a craw of some sort to it. In adding a craw to it, you want to add this bait the same way that I added the trailer, with the crawdad up. Now I would do this in fishing the bait slow rolling that bait down deep early in the springtime. In the fall, when I feel like the fish is raiding it way down deep, I'm going to add a craw. This will actually make a crawdad out of the bait. So you can add a craw. As you see, again, that'll add some color to it. The other situation in adding a trailer is simply for color enhancement. In other words, you come in here and you want to add, now I've just got a little old purple riverside worm here. Do the same thing I've done a minute ago. Now I'm going to make a really large bait out of this. But what I've done also is I've added color enhancement. If I want to add some purple to it, let's say I want to add red, I'd put a red worm back here. I wanted to add black, whatever, you know, as a color enhancement. Now, I like to do this early in the springtime, anytime I'm slow rolling the spinnerbait. Now remember, one thing you're always going to suffer when you add a trailer is casting accuracy. I've never seen anyone cast as accurately with a trailer of some kind as they can without it. So those times when you need really good pinpoint throws, a trailer is not going to work quite as well. Now let me tell you when I always add a trailer. This is something that, and I can't even explain to you why it works. But if I'm out fishing and I miss some fish, let's say I have 2 or 3 fish come up and either hit the bait with their mouth shut or swirl under it and won't take it, that's when I'll put a trailer. Many times I'll put a big pork trailer, like that big #1 jumbo frog back there. That makes the bait bulkier, it makes it larger. For some reason, that solves a lot of those problems of missing the fish. Oh, speaking of missing the fish, remember I talked to you about adding trailer hooks? Let me tell you, I fish trailer hooks all of the time in tournaments. And what I do in fishing a trailer hook, I use a big hook just like it comes in the bait. Use a 3, 4-aught hook. You might want to use one hook size down than what's in the bait. All I do then is I take and I slip it on and run the trailer just like this. I use a little keeper, this particular keeper right here. I know it's difficult to see. That little keeper right there is a commercial keeper that you know, you can buy just about anywhere. When you slip it over the bait, the point of the hook, like such, you see what it does there? Slides down. That keeps that hook from coming off. No matter what happens, this hook will not come off. This gives you a trailer hook that you can fish on here. Now, if you don't have these or you run out of these, let me show you what else you can do. You see this other little deal right here? All that is a little piece of coating that comes off of wire. All I've done is a plastic coating off of wire. I cut me a little piece of wire, pull the wire out of the inside and make these little keepers like this. Same situation. I simply slide them right over the hook, right down like that, and that keeps that hook from coming off. One other little tip on trailers and hooks, if you're fishing fairly open water. This is a pretty secret deal. Don't tell anybody else about this. If you're fishing pretty open water, this is a little tiny trailer hook. If I'm using a small terminator, this is the little hook I use on it. If you're taking that hook, turn it over upside down like that. Now, if you're fishing brush and logs and stuff, that's going to hang up every throw. If you're in open water, say you're fishing riprap, oh, this is dynamite on riprap. You know on riprap, you really miss a lot of fish on a spinnerbait. You take that, turn it over like that, now you got one hook up, one hook down, you're going to catch a lot of fish that your buddies don't catch. But hide this from him. Don't let the guy in the back of the boat see what you're doing. Oh, God, you see that big boy come out of there and grab that? Did you see that? Whoa, get up under that log. Whoa, look at that big guy down there. Look at that, looky there. Oh, wait, now he's in another log. Now he's in another tree. Look at that fish, man. Whoa, looky there. He come out of there. Whoa, I slowed that bait down and was just crawling it right across the top of the water of that tree. I mean, just crawling it across the top of the water. Oh, looky there. Now, is that a fish or what? Isn't that gorgeous? Man, what a fish. I tell you what, I think I kissed my terminator, not the bass. Ooh, I believe I kissed the bass too. I love you, baby. That's a beautiful fish right there. You know, I tell you what, did you see what happened there? One of the things that I get asked more often about spinnerbaiting is how fast do you run a spinnerbait? In other words, how fast do you want to wind? Now, I use really good reels. These reels are 6-to-1 retrieve, so you don't have to turn the handle very fast to make them move really, really fast. But the whole key in spinnerbait fishing, you can burn a spinnerbait, fish it real fast, turn your handle real slow, crawl it across the bottom. I've got one good little rule of thumb that you need to remember. When you're in a potential strike zone area, the area where you think you might be able to get a bite, you want to run your spinnerbait as slowly as possible right through that area. Now, in that situation, it was just a standing tree and about 4 foot of water. And once I got to that tree, I slowed that bait down, was just barely turning my reel handle. The bait come up there kind of fast, slowed down. As it went through that 6 or 7 inch area, as slowly as possible through that magic potential strike zone area. Once I got there, that big fish come out there and larped onto that terminator. I tell you, look at that. That's an amazing deal, titanium. That's going to change spinnerbait fishing forever. Run the bait as slowly as possible through the potential strike zone area. Once you clear that, wind it in, throw it out again. Whoa, there's a big boy there. If you really want to become a good spinnerbait fisherman, one of the things that you've got to work on and practice constantly is accuracy. The more accurate you can become, the better spinnerbait fisherman you're going to be. And I tell you what, if you really want to get dead accurate, I mean really be able to throw like the pros, learn to throw underhanded. Now, in an underhand throw, what I'm doing underhanded is I'm replacing this back and arrow, this back and forth bow and arrow type motion. I'm replacing that with a small loop at the end of my rod. I'm making a small loop. This loop is going to be around, flat, parallel to the water, like such. I do this with my wrist, getting my wrist very limber, come around and snap it up. So you simply come around, snap it up, shoot the bait right straight off the end of your rod tip. So what you're doing is you're building the power up in the rod by rolling your wrist around like this. Now, it's a lot larger bend you're looking at right there than what you actually do when you're casting. Actually, it's very small. The easiest way to learn how to do that is to start throwing overhanded. Make sure that you're throwing overhanded correctly. By throwing overhanded correctly, I'm getting my elbow in close to my body. I'm going to turn my rod where my reel handles are up or down, depending on whether your reel handles are on the left side or right side, or you're throwing left-handed or right-handed. Your reel handle either up or down, and I'm going to use my wrist to make my cast. Not my arm, but my wrist. All right, now I got it around here, make my wrist to make my cast. I want the line to fall off of the reel vertically. In other words, I want to turn it where the line vertically, up and down. So when you make your cast, see the reel handles, the line is flowing off vertically. Now, once you're doing that correctly, you're making the cast with your wrist, the easiest way to throw underhanded is simply start making an underhand throw and work your way down. That's all you're gonna do, just simply work your way down. You're over here 3/4, you're keeping the elbow in close, make the cast, drop over here sidearm, elbow in close, using your wrist, make the cast, drop down like this. Ooh, that's good in itself. Now once you get down in about this position right here, sort of a magic thing starts happening. What happens is you start, actually your wrist will want to start rolling on you. That's what you want it to do. Once you feel that wrist start rolling, start exaggerating that motion. Now you're rolling the rod tip around a little bit. Now it's a Ferris wheel type roll. You're rolling around like such. What you want to do then, once you get this rolled around like this, now you're throwing sidearm, but you're doing it in the underhand position. Now all you need to do is simply bring the rod back around in front of you, and you can work your way around, work your way around, work your way down. Now I've got the rod right straight out in front of me, making a pure underhand throw. Learn to do that. I guarantee you catch more bass. Ooh, should have caught one on that throw. Ooh, yeah. Talk to me, booger. Well, what are you doing? Look at that fish pull. Looky there. Come here, bug. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Oh, yeah, nice bass. Yeah, come here. Hey, you through? Huh? Come here. Look how good that fish is hooked. That bait has got a hook in it, doesn't it? It really does. Oh, man. Well, I tell you what, I hope you've enjoyed this day fishing with me out here with my new Terminator spinnerbait. I know that you're gonna have a lot of days just like it. We put a little coupon in that kit where you can order you some more of them. I know you're not gonna break that bait. All you gotta do is change skirts, you got new colors, but you got a friend, you got a buddy, you know, be a pal. Order him a Terminator. That's what's gonna happen. Mwah. Thank you for playing with me today, Sherman. We'll see y'all.